Hi, my name's Kevin Berry from Black Ghost Records. Today I'm going to be interviewing Will Fletcher, frontman, lead and guitarist from Murmurmur. Will, how's it going, dude?
Good, man. How are you doing?
Where are you in your house?
I'm in my little studio room. You can't really see because I got my computer, but it's got all my shit in it, you know, my gear, and it kind of, I don't know, the carpet makes it look kind of, I don't know, it's for sound purposes, not for aesthetic purposes, you know?
Lovely. How are you coping with the whole lockdown thing?
Man, it's been weird. We'd actually started recording an EP right before it kind of kicked in.
Yeah.
So it hit us pretty hard, and we've kind of now only just finished it. In fact, we've got the last day of it on Saturday, but
Cool.
we basically, you know, put our entire year on hold, I guess.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but it's in, you know, in some ways I'm not super upset because it's kind of given us a bit of extra time just to kind of work on more music.
Yeah.
So it's like we've got this EP, but now we've kind of got, you know, we're working on an album as well. So it's kind of good in a way. It's obviously not good, but you know, I'm trying to stay positive, basically.
Yeah. I read somewhere that part of your creative process is that you kind of lock yourself away and you kind of can forget the rest of the world. And I was thinking, this is perfect for you. I'm wondering whether you actually created it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I mean, I do like a bat soup, I must say.
So, oh God. By the way, what you played at our Middle of Nowhere fundraising festival last year, and I've got to say thank you very, very, very much for that. You are not only a brilliant artist, but very generous and very kind. Thanks for that.
Oh man, thank you for having us. It was very fun.
Cool, man. So you don't know what the future's going to look. Nobody knows what the future's going to look like in terms of releasing stuff.
No, not at all. We're basically just waiting until we get the go ahead. Obviously, I think our manager's kind of been, you know, basically just, you know, he's been telling us what we can and can't do in terms of releasing music and when we should and when we shouldn't.
Yeah.
So we're obviously listening to him.
That's his job.
It is his job, and he's very good at his job. So we're going to listen to him.
Cool. Hey, so some of the obvious questions, like first of all, murmurmur. Where's that come from?
Oh man, you'd be surprised how many people don't ask me that question, and that's the question that I've always people. It's strange that people don't ask us that more because it's a weird name.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is a weird name. Man, it's just like it's a play on the word murmur. Obviously.
Yeah.
I had a book of lyrics and I had murmur written, but it was kind of repeating on the top of the piece of paper, and it was kind of, I don't know. It looked really cool, and I just took a segment of it, which was murmur.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just had it kind of written down for a couple of years, and then came back to it, and I was like, that's really cool. And
cool.
Then,
it is a good one. And your band, where did they all come from? Like, how did this whole thing happen? Murmur.
I was doing session work for years, for an Australian act called City Calm Down. And through them I met, Alex, who plays guitar.
Yeah.
And Finn, who played synth. He was in our first lineup. He played synth.
Yeah.
And basically through Alex, really, I met the other two. And Luke was actually living in Mildura at the time.
Cool.
So we waited for him to come down, kind of hoping that he was going to be, you know, the right guy. And he really was the right guy. They were both the right guys. They were fantastic. They're both amazing players. All three of them are fantastic players. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
At what point did you kind of realize that music was going to be your thing? Was there a time where you went, actually, I'm going to do this?
I think, man, when I've played music since I was very young, but I probably picked guitar up when I was 16.
Yeah.
And I think I probably knew pretty quickly after that I wanted to pursue it, but maybe not until I did a degree in music. And I think maybe after that, I kind of spent a bit more time actually composing music.
Yeah.
And then maybe my goals changed a bit, and I probably focused in on more on actually just composing music rather than, you know, being a flashy guitar player, which is what I wanted to be at the time.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Hey, I just want to do this, right? And I'm not a musician, so please forgive me. What I want to know is if you can explain a little bit about your creative process. And I read a Triple J thing here today. It was lovely, and they said immersive, textural, and laden with esoteric melodies and hooks.
That sounds nice.
Melbourne murmurmur inject a moment of beauty into the cold indifference of the rapidly changing world. Right, beautiful, right?
Wow.
So my thinking, and that was your song. Everything's still changing, but I want to know where did Everything Still Changing start? What just in terms of a creative process, how did you start, and how did you get through to end up with, you know, Triple J writing such a beautiful thing about your art?
Quite often it comes from, I start off with a rhythmic aspect, so to be, you know, a drum beat or something, and I usually play over that and come up with ideas. It's usually like a riff or a motif that starts at a melody, and then the entire song gets built around that. And that, in that situation, it was the introduction. That was the first thing that I had for that song. And then after that, everything kind of came from that. And I suppose that particular song, I tried very hard to kind of keep it very inside a feeling and kind of not to stray too much from the initial feeling that introduction gives you. And yeah.
So is that process is typical for you and your band, is it? That's how you kind of normally...
Yeah, I mean, it's always something different. I mean, it's never the same. It's never the same every time. And so, I mean, sometimes I'll come back to an idea 2 years later that I had, you know, and it's actually quite fun doing that. I really enjoy going back and listening to old things. I got, you know, thousands of voice memos that I occasionally listen through. Most of them are complete garbage, but occasionally you hear something that you really like and you go back to it and you can kind of, you know, shine new light on it. And sometimes something really nice comes out.
Cool.
Other times it doesn't.
In terms of musical people who've inspired you, I mean, do you have any artists that come to mind that shape the way that you do your art?
Oh man, definitely. I think that the band that really inspired me to write songs and get better at part writing would be Radiohead. There's absolutely in my opinion, no better band in terms of part writing. They're just, you know, there's the masters. Three guitars doing different things at the same time. And everything blends so beautifully. And, you know, drums and bass are just perfect. They're just, So it would be Radiohead for sure. They'd be my number one influence. Yeah.
Fantastic. And as an artist, do you stick within a kind of channel, or do you kind of think that you have to change and push boundaries?
Man, I think I try not to think about it too much.
Yeah.
It can be very easy to get caught up in that kind of thing, in you know, thinking that you have to try different things and force yourself in a direction. But I think that for me, it's just trying to make it feel as natural as possible, and to not ever try and force anything, just to be able to be comfortable in doing what I'm doing and hope that people are enjoying it. That's it.
Beautiful. Now, you've played some festivals and you've played a lot of gigs. Are there any that are kind of favorites of yours?
It's interesting. It's like the most fun gigs we've played haven't necessarily been the best ones. It's like the most fun have been the ones where, you know, the audience are really into it and we're having a good time playing to an audience. But like, obviously the most like rewarding would be, you know, playing the festivals that we played, yours and ours, Beyond the Valley. Even though we played to basically no people, it was it's, you know, still enjoyable. But I still much prefer playing smaller shows to, I'm just trying to think of one show that I can really think of.
There doesn't have to be one either, of course.
Our EP launch at Workers Club, that was probably a highlight. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. And are there any artists that I know that you'd like to support in the future?
Oh man, I mean, you know, Heaps.
Who comes to mind? Come on.
I mean, in terms of bands that I think are maybe similar. I mean, I'd love to support Pond. I really, really big fans of Pond. Every one of the bands, big fan of Pond. So yeah, I would like to support them. Even Gum, Jay's project, really like his project too.
Cool.
And Tame Impala obviously would be great, but that's probably never going to happen.
Cool.
Now,
just on a heavier note, in terms of what's going on in the US at the moment, do you have any views on that craziness?
Oh man, I mean, it's a terrifying country. It really is, and I don't know. It kind of. All I can say is I really, really, really hope that something good comes out of this, because it needs to, and it's time. It's just been so long and so many awful things have happened to people, and I don't know. I just hope that he hasn't died in vain, and something really nice can come out of it, and some peace can be brought to the situation.
Seem like somebody who puts a lot of energy into focusing on the good in life. Would that be the right assumption?
Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah.
Do you meditate?
I don't, but I probably should. I've had a lot of people say that I should.
You probably do it in your own way. Creating music's probably very cathartic anyway.
It is. It definitely is. And I think maybe composing music is the thing that, keeps me kind of sane to some extent anyway.
Yeah. It must be a fucking nightmare at the moment. You kind of
I mean, I felt like we were, building some momentum. And I don't think that, I don't think that as a result of this, that has stopped necessarily. I mean, we're about to release, not about to, but we are going to release music soon. We have music that we're about to release. So I don't know when it's going to be. I can't tell you, but we've got an EP that we're going to be dropping at some point.
Cool.
Hopefully, single soonish, I hope.
Cool. Well, we're all looking forward to that, brother. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Kev.